Now begins the news at 6 here. We start with some breaking news and calls for justice in the Shanquella Robinson case growing louder. Today, attorneys for the Robinson family, including Benjamin Crump.
We were all starting to lose hope that justice would ever be served. But new bombshell evidence has surfaced that's turned everything upside down. It's revealed just how wicked and heartless the Cabo Six really are and the unspeakable horrors they inflicted upon poor Shanquella.
Kind child, growed up to be lovable, love people, and they done her like this. It's just terrible. And then they had a video that went viral. The whole world seen the video, and there's been no arrest.
This is going to blow your mind. Shanquella's family has finally spoken out and dropped the bombshell of all bombshells. They've revealed the identity of the person who really took her life. And let me tell you, it's someone that nobody ever expected, and the way they tried to cover their tracks and manipulate Shanquella's loved ones is downright despicable.
Her luggage, what did they tell you happened to your daughter?
That she got sick from drinking.
It's been about 5 months since we lost Shanquella Robinson in that horrible accident in Cabo, Mexico, while she was on vacation with her friends. For so long, it appeared like the Cabo Six would slip through the gaps and escape punishment for their evil actions. The authorities were tight-lipped about the details, claiming that the investigation was still ongoing and that they couldn't reveal too much without compromising it. But now that the wait is over, we can finally learn the truth about what happened to Shanquella. We finally know who is to blame for her tragic death after months of speculation. It's a bombshell revelation that will undoubtedly send shockwaves throughout the community. Shanquella's tragic death has become an absolute sensation on social media, and for good reason. It's a total mess. I mean, can you believe that she went on vacation to Cabo and just 24 hours later, she was gone? It's a nightmare that nobody could have seen coming. At first, her so-called friends tried to pull the wool over everyone's eyes by claiming that her death was just a result of alcohol poisoning. Can you believe that? They thought they could just sweep it under the rug and pretend like nothing happened. But Shanquella's family wasn't going to let that slide. They knew something wasn't right, and they weren't going to rest until they got to the bottom of it. Here's what they had to say about that situation. As it turns out, when Shanquella was first brought to the villa where they were staying, her friends told the doctors that she had simply had too much to drink. Can you imagine? If only they had come clean and told the truth, maybe Shanquella would still be with us today. But the story only gets more disturbing from there. Tragically, after that, Shanquella went into cardiac arrest and was declared dead at 6 p.m. But here's where things get really messed up. The autopsy report listed her cause of death as a severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, a condition that's caused by unstable or excessive movement in the first two vertebrae of the neck. This suggested that Shanquella had been the victim of physical violence, not just alcohol poisoning as her so-called friends had claimed. Even more suspiciously, the autopsy report made no mention of alcohol in her system, despite the guest's claims that she had been drinking heavily. People are now speculating that if she really had ingested enough alcohol to cause alcohol poisoning, it would have showed up on the autopsy report. Just when we thought things couldn't get any worse, a shocking video also surfaced online, showing Shanquella being brutally beaten by one of her supposed friends. That's right, folks, it was none other than lled Jackson who was caught on camera pummeling poor Shanquella. What's even more disturbing is that other people in the friend group were present during the attack, but did nothing to stop it or help Shanquella. And if that wasn't bad enough, her so-called best friend Khalil Cook was overheard mocking her during the beating, saying, "Quella, can you at least fight back?" While authorities have yet to officially name lled as a suspect in Shanquella's murder, many believe that the beating she received from lled could have been what killed her. But make no mistake, folks, the Cabo Six are still at the center of this investigation, and authorities have declared them persons of interest in the case. Mexico has also ruled that this is a femicide case and has requested the extradition of the Cabo Six so that they can face justice in Mexico. Mexican authorities also released a statement saying, "This case is fully clarified. We even have a court order. There is an arrest warrant issued for the crime of femicide to the detriment of the victim and against an alleged perpetrator, a friend of her who is the direct aggressor. Actually, it wasn't a quarrel, but instead a direct aggression. We are carrying out all the pertinent procedures such as the Interpol alert and the request for extradition to the United States of America. It's about 2 Americans, the victim and the culprit. Despite months of waiting and endless bureaucratic red tape, it seems like justice might finally be served. Shanquella's parents have had enough of the foot dragging and sent a scathing letter to the White House demanding answers. But that's not even the juiciest part. They also revealed the identity of the person Mexican authorities have been searching for, and it's none other than Shanquella's so-called friend, lled Jackson. The letter specifically called out to Jani, referencing the viral video show Shanquella being beaten in the villa while naked by one of the 6 travel mates who was identified by a witness as lled Jackson. An autopsy report prepared on October 30, 2022 in Mexico by medical examiner Dr. Rene Dalberto Galvan Oscura noted that Shanquella's body had a head injury and concluded that Shanquella's cause of death was a broken neck. The letter continued, as a result of the investigation, a warrant was issued for Dejonia Jackson by Mexican law enforcement, one of the 6 travel mates who fled to the United States after Shanquella was pronounced dead. Ms. Jackson was identified as the perpetrator of femicide against Shanquella Robinson, a homicide based on gender. If a United States citizen commits homicide in Mexico and returns back to the United States, as you are aware, they can face criminal charges in the United States under federal law or state law, depending on the circumstances of the crime. The letter from Shanquella's family to the White House is a heart-wrenching plea for justice. It's clear that her parents are fed up with the lack of progress in the investigation and are desperate for answers. They're demanding action from the U.S. government, even if it means bringing the perpetrators to justice in America instead of extraditing them to Mexico. But the most shocking part of the letter is the new information it reveals about the Cabo Six. According to a witness statement, Shanquella never really fit in with the group. She seemed to not fit in with others. When I introduced myself, she did not greet me or smile. She was indifferent, nothing to do with the atmosphere of celebration. She was out of place at that party. Even after Shanquella was declared dead, the group showed no signs of remorse or grief. According to a concierge who was at the villa, he went to offer his condolences to the group, and what he saw was truly disturbing. I left that area and stayed outside the main entrance to give them space to mourn and grieve. Minutes later, I heard laughter. Hours later, Jackson texted the concierge about dinner and he arranged a ride for the group to San Jose. But he found out later the group went to the airport, reports the Charlotte Observer. Later, when the video was released of Jackson attacking her, the concierge said he realized that practically had manipulated him in an effort to leave the country as soon as possible. It's shocking to learn that when the group realized they had caused Shanquella's death, they didn't seem to feel any remorse. Instead, they made a run for the border, hoping to avoid facing any consequences for their actions. Their careless actions highlight a lack of concern for Shanquella's life, and it's no wonder many believe this tragedy may have been premeditated. One user highlighted the double standards at play, and there it is not one arrest was made in Shanquella Robinson's death. If she was white, though, they would have been extradited and charged already. This would have been on 48 hours of full-on-deck documentary. Another user asked, why is it now 4 months later and not one person has been charged? Murder in the death of Shanquella Robinson. Why are arrests not being made? What is the delay? It's concerning that they assumed the case would blow over once they reached the U.S., as if they thought they could simply brush off their responsibility. Unfortunately for them, the internet is onto them. It's heart-wrenching to think that Shanquella's family had to endure a lengthy wait for justice. However, now that the culprits have been identified, one can hope that the process will accelerate and the family can finally receive the closure they deserve to begin the healing process. That's all for the video. Thanks for watching.